Hello everybody and welcome back. So we are doing this mushroom thing. I'm actually gonna show you what we are up to. So I'm gonna load the other scene to show you and let you see what's going on. So let's do this maximize, and whenever we move this player around, you see we are growing up the mushrooms like this. Because this is a mushroom, flugsvamp mushroom man. So he's doing a lot of mushy things. So that's what we're doing, and we are at the moment here. So we have set up, we just made sure that with this VFX property binder, we are getting this player position into the setup. So we have it here, and that's great. So what I had here, set position, we don't need it, just for debugging. And we have the mushrooms here, so that's lovely. And the next thing we want to do, gonna have, well, we set the size here. And what we want to do, we want to set the custom attribute here, because we want the final size. So let's add float here to final min size. Well, actually, we're gonna have this to final size. So final size gonna be final size. So now, because we created it into attributes, we can find it like a node like this. So we want to set it here, but not like this one. I just wanted to show you. So the property here, we're going to do the min and max final size. Final size min. And this one gonna have a copy. So we do this final size max. So let's open it up, and I think I'm gonna have the smallest one to 0.5 and the biggest to 1, or yeah, maybe it's too big. Let's find out later, but I think 0.3. And then we're gonna have this random float. Here we have it. So we're gonna set the final size to have the min and max size like this. So by doing this setup in the initialize, we know what the final size will be. And it's a random value between 3 and 5. So we can have different sizes on the mushrooms when they are grown up. So we need to do some kind of progress here. And we're going to set the progress down here. And how we can do this? Well, we're also going to have another attribute that's going to be progress. It's going to be a float, and it's going to be progress. So the progress, we're going to set the progress here. And we're going to define it by the distance from the particle and player. So whenever the distance is close enough, we're going to do the progress like it's growing a lot. And if it's far away, we want to make it grow. So in order to do that, we get the position of the particle. So here we have that one. And then we get the player position. So now when we have these two, we just do get distance. No, actually, only distance. So now when we have the player and we have the, well, here's the player and here's the particle position. Now we have the distance. So we want to remap this one. So first we can just plug it in and see how it looks. So progress. So now we have the progress variable set. Now we're just going to set the progress here. So now just do get here. Where is it? Here it is. So now you see there is stuff happening. The close one is nothing, and the further one is have the color. And we're also gonna fix the size, but for now we're just gonna work with the colors. So what we can do, because now it's like 0 and then it goes up to 10 maybe, I don't know. But if we remap this here and input and then we plug it out here, it shouldn't be, well, now it's no difference. It shouldn't be. No, because we're not doing anything. Here is the old min and old max, and the new min and new max. So nothing really happens. But the value our progress is like 5 or 6 out here, but we don't want that. So we're going to clamp, which means the value can never be less than 0 or more than 1. And I'm actually going to invert this. So now you see the closer they are, the more progress, and the further they are, less progress. Which means here we can do like, if we do 1 here and 2 here, now, or actually if I do 1.2 or 1.1, now you see there's a distinct line where if it's less than 0, sorry, less than 1, then it will return 1 because we clamp it. And if it's more than 1.1, we will do 0, which means it's going to be less 0 in the progress. So we could do like 1.5 and 2.5 maybe, or maybe just 1 and 2. So now we see there's kind of a gradient here. So now if we just move around our armature, you see, it works. Isn't it lovely? But you see now it goes back to the original color. So the way to address that one is pretty easy. So what we want to do here, if we just get the progress. So let's say if the progress is 0 and the input value and this value is 0.5, then we just do the maximum of these two. So now we get the maximum value. And that means if this value is 0 and this value is 1, that means the old progress value will be the maximum one. Which means if we walk around, we will store the old progress value. So now you see we have the old value. So that's great. And I'm actually going to do the... I want more particles. So let's see, particle count. I'm going to do 700, a lot of them. I want to have more of them. Now we have more of them, perfect. And now we're just going to make the size too. So in the same way, we just do set size. And because we have, so let's have this here, we can move it up a little bit. So we can just actually, well, we're going to only copy the maximum one. So what's going to happen here, we need to get the final size. And if the progress is 0, we're going to multiply with the final size, which means it will be 0. But if the final size is like 5, then the progress is 1. So 5 multiplied with 1 is 5. Then we just do the same thing here. So we have, yeah, you could do like this, or you can do like this. It doesn't really matter. So we get the final size again and do the maximum of it, and then we set the size. Now it should work. No, I did it wrong. So the thing is, we not get final size, because that's we need to get the size. So we are aiming, we need to get the size here and get size. So here it is. This is the one we need. Now it will work. So now if we walk around with this one here, and here we have it. Perfect. So I'm just going to add a little bit more stuff to this. And what I'm going to add, I want it to be a little bit alive. So they kind of cartoony moving. And I'm just going to do it here. So what we need to do, set scale like this. And I'm just going to change this value here. No, this Z, because I want it to move a little bit, and it's not that complicated. So I'm going to sorry, I'm going to use this sign. So if we use this sign, and what happens here is that whenever you go from 0 to 2 pi, it will be a complete sign. Then it will start over, which means it will go one circle. So 6.28-ish is like one curve. And what I mean by that is that if we take this one and do the total time, and we do it in the Z, now it will take 6.28 seconds to go scale down and up. And we don't want it to scale this much. So what we're going to do, we're going to have just an add here. And then we're going to make an multiply. So if we multiply, so it's -1 and +1. But let's say we just do 0.05. So now you see we only kind of barely animate it. So then we just have 1 as the default size. And then we just add a tiny little bit. So now you see it's moving a little bit. So the thing is, as I told you, it takes 6.28 seconds to go a total lap. So you notice they are all moving up and down in the same time. So if we just do remap, or random float, and then we do random between 0 and 2 pi, and then we just add it in here. Now they all will have moving in not synchronized. So now you see they move different. That's nice. It's nice to just have them moving a little bit different, because these are alive mushrooms. But you also notice that these ones, they are also moving. And maybe you want it, or maybe not, but I can show you how to control that too. And so we have this part here. This is them moving up and down. But maybe you don't want it. So what we can do, we just make a lerp. And we get the progress. Maybe we don't want the progress. We don't want the movement to start until the progress is like 0.5. So we can do a sample curve. And we sample this curve, because progress is between 0 and 1. So here we make, so this is 0 and this is 1. And whenever the progress is 0.5 here, it's kind of already up here. But if we move this one here, then the scaling, the effect won't start until the progress is 0.5, and then it will increase. So whenever it's 0 down here, we will have the X 0 value. And whenever it's 1 here, we will have the I1 value. So that means we want the addition to be here. Otherwise, we want it to be 0. So now, all the small, tiny white mushrooms won't animate anything, but the big ones will. Cool, huh? There's so much you can do. I like it. And yeah, actually, this is it. So now it works. So now we can walk around and we can tweak this to make it even cooler with some noise and stuff, and change the scale and stuff. Yeah, you know, but I'm gonna leave that up to you, so you can be creative and make a really cool flugsvamp stuff. So I'm just gonna show you the screen here, like an overview, so you kind of see what's going on. So let's see. Yeah, you can just pause and look. So we have this is the setup that we have. And this is the properties we have. Here we have particle count, min and max, final, and player position, and attributes. So, thank you so much for watching.